carer's assessment assesses a carer's ability to continue either in a role that they're already undertaking or their potential to undertake a caring role. For the first time in 2014, under the Social Services and Wellbeing Wales Act, it was made a legal requirement. First thing is for a carer or someone in that role to recognise that they're a carer, or their role as a carer is recognised either by a family member, a friend, or perhaps a GP or somebody that's involved in their life and says, look, you're doing these sorts of things, so you're helping, say, if you're looking after elderly relatives or maybe a partner that has a disability, you're helping them, with washing, with dressing, with getting to the GP, with things like just remembering to take their medication. If you're doing these sorts of things, then you're a carer. So the first thing is to identify someone as a carer. So when that happens, as long as they're consenting, if they're an adult and they're consenting to an assessment, then an appointment will be made for usually a social worker to go out and visit them and to start to talk to them about the process of having an assessment.
When I'm asked to go through a carer's assessment, I'm asked to talk about the closest people to me in the world and to disclose the things I'm most sensitive about. It's not a comfortable experience. If I don't feel listened to, and if I'm treated like a faceless name on a form, then I'm not willing to share. Please remember to listen and to be kind when doing a carer's assessment. It's a big deal to talk about life as a carer.
It's just so important to listen to carers when they're receiving an assessment, because you are talking about intimate parts of their family life. You're talking about their identity, and I think it's not just. Social work is about asking people to share those really intimate areas of their life. So having empathy and treating people with respect and with dignity and acknowledging that you are asking them to share parts of their lives that we would all find difficult to share I think it's absolutely key. Empathy is I think the foundation to that collaborative relationship, to support potential carers to be able to share. And I think, and that goes to thinking about, what is the best way to undertake this assessment? When is the best time? What's the best environment? Would it work better for this person if somebody else was there? Giving them, support.
It was really difficult to explain my caring role, because as well as caring like I've always done, I have been working a full-time job to support the family as well. Work and care meant that I had no time for myself. The person who did my carer's assessment listened and then prompted me to talk about my work, care and life balance. This was so important to me because it helped me figure out what I couldn't do and what I needed to support me in doing what I could do.
It's really important to remember it's not for the assessor to make a decision about what a good work-life balance is for a carer. So your goal as an assessor is to help the carer to articulate what a good work-life balance would be. Social workers should be very familiar with the miracle question. So the miracle question is a way of helping a person to articulate and create a preferred future. So you would help a carer think about, these are the hours of the day that you work, and this is the caring that you undertake, before and after. So what would a good life-work balance look like for you? How would you know? Who would recognise that it's a good work-life balance? You help them describe and articulate and imagine what that good balance would look like. So I think the key thing in there, it's not for you to bring your assumptions on what it might look like. It's for you to create the environment for that person to tell you and describe what it would look like. And then together, collaboratively, part of the assessment would be, okay, so how do we get there? So we've described what it could look like, and all the people that would notice that those changes had happened. So how do we get there? So part of your plan, your carer's plan, would be all the steps that you could take together to get there.
My caring role is hard, and I need practical solutions to help me support the person I care for, and to support me. I want someone who will listen and be compassionate, of course, but I don't want someone to be overly emotional or promise things they can't deliver. I want a professional who will talk through the options with me, give me the opportunity to share what I value most, and help me put things in place.
When you're undertaking an assessment as a social worker, you do it in a way that helps the person to feel confident to share those. I think if your values are right, and then you're going to, I hope, create a respectful space for them to share. But also there's something about your skills. So asking, open type questions, focusing on strengths, because, this person has been a carer. They've often been a carer for a long time. They've been creative and innovative, and they've adapted in so many ways. So the strengths that they have will be enormous. So I think social workers really have to focus on, what's working well, what are your strengths, really explore, the whole context, the family situation, the environmental strengths. So definitely having a strengths-based approach, something about asking open questions, being professionally curious, and I think things like using summary and reflection to ensure that they've understood properly as well, and not making assumptions, because it's not your story, it's not your life. You're creating a space for a person to tell you about their life and their circumstances and their strengths and some of what their challenges might be, and it's about, like I said, it's about creating a space for that to happen in a respectful and a safe way. One of the most important things that you do before you ever meet a carer, before that very first, conversation, it's a what matters to you conversation, you do your homework. So first of all, we make an assumption that all social workers understand, their duties under the legislation. Make sure you understand your duties under the legislation. Social Care Wales, who are the social work regulator, organisations like Carers Wales have fantastic resources and tools to support social workers in undertaking this really important role. So make sure that you're clued up. You understand what your legal duties are. Use the fantastic tools and resources that are out there. Make sure that you have some training, and then before you ever go and meet a carer or a potential carer, have a look at all the information that you already have, so that you go and you've got some sense of who this person is and what their circumstances are.